just showered, so I feel pretty good. I am tired of driving. I think I'm about halfway. I'm on Little Rock Air Force Base. Oh, jeez. Little Rock. Okay, I'm gonna pull over so you can go around me. Thanks. I should arrive at my destination tomorrow. Probably gonna end up being late tomorrow, but that's fine. Man, this base is pretty empty. They have a lot of static displays. My commute so far has been uneventful. There's been a ton of rain. A ton. Make sure I have my ID. And there was one point where I was at a gas station. I just got pulled into a gas station, and this minivan, they come up beside me, and the passenger side, this woman was talking to me through my window, so I roll it down, and she's like, yeah, we noticed that your hitch cargo carrier, the lights it's not plugged in all the way. My husband said it's not plugged in all the way, so he's back there. I'm like, huh? And she's like, yeah. He was like, should I do anything? Should I help her? And then this woman, the wife, she goes, yeah, she's a girl. We need to help her. Excuse me? Excuse you? I'm a girl, so I cannot plug in a light for a hitch cargo carrier. I am already well aware that freaking light is flickering, okay? I already know that. I have plugged it in, unplugged it. It is still flickering. So I pop out, I go back there, and he's already under there trying to plug it in, fix it. And obviously it's not, he could see that it was in there tight. And he pops up, he's like, oh yeah, well, yeah, you can see your tail lights at least, so that's good. I don't even have to have those lights on there. I just have them because I thought that would be helpful for other drivers. I said, yeah, I already know that they're flickering, so whatever. But it just really killed me that wife said to me that she supposedly said to her husband, yeah, we need to help her. She's a girl. No, I don't need any help because I have a vagina and your husband has a penis. I am quite capable. Who do you think put that 75-pound hitch cargo carrier on my car? Me. Who do you think put all this crap on top of my roof and strapped it down? Me. Okay? This girl did all that. It's like, you know what? Just because you're a dude doesn't mean that you know any better than me. There are a lot of females out there who are quite capable. And I would like to think that I am one of those in very many aspects of life. Okay? Which leads me actually to one of the big reasons I decided to start a YouTube channel. And that, I think there's a lot of people who start YouTube because they feel like they have something to offer, whether it be in the form of comedy, advice, information, whatever it is. So what I felt like I had to offer people, particularly females, is that you can still do things and accomplish things without somebody right there by your side. And no, it does not have to be a man. It can also be females. I am not a man hater. Men are definitely frustrating, but I do see their value, okay? But I really want to show other females that they are totally capable of doing things that they might want to do, yet they feel like they have to have somebody right there holding their hand, whether it be a man, whether it be another female. Nope, we are not going left, we're going straight. If they have a love for the outdoors like I do, or in regards to buying a home, they don't need to wait around for somebody else to be there with them and do it with them. Yes, I understand that it can be an emotional process, like when it comes to buying a home. You might want to do that with somebody and share a life with somebody, of course. But sometimes that isn't always an option right then. And you shouldn't pass up an opportunity to improve your situation and invest in your future. I certainly do think that women should be treated equally, definitely, to men, but I don't relate it just to doing something without a man. It's just you're able to do things by yourself on your own just fine. Is that dark? I don't even know. Does that help? I don't know. At first I was pretty surprised as to all of the male viewers I have on my channel, because in my mind, and it makes sense now, but in my mind, I thought that I would have a lot more females watching my stuff, but it makes sense that I'm into the outdoors. There's a lot of men who are also into the outdoors, so that would have been of interest to them. And okay, I am a female, so maybe that's also why they're watching. But the longer that I have my channel, I find that I am getting more female viewers, which I really do like and hope to continue. And that's not to say that I don't like my male viewers and subscribers. I think it's wonderful all the way around, because I've had comments from guys who have said, hey, I really like your channel. I like the outdoor stuff and the gear reviews, and it's actually helped me to get out there and try those similar things on my own. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. If I can reach anybody, male or female, I think that's great. Either way. So, you might go into something thinking one thing, but you have opportunity to reach so many other people than what you initially intended. Well, I get a lot of guys in real life who are like, you can't go camping by yourself. You can't do this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I get it. They're men and they understand other men. Men are the biggest threat to females and men. So that's probably where they're coming from. But no, I can do that and I will do that. And thank you for your concern. And it's really just men who say that. Who are like, you can't do this and you can't do that. It's mostly men. I don't know if I've ever encountered any females who I've told what I do, or they've seen some of my videos and they're like, oh my gosh, you can't do that, you shouldn't do that. Like, props to my ladies, okay, out there who are totally supportive. Anyway, I think it's crazy just because you might be a female or even a male. In certain situations, you can't do something or you're not capable, and it's just need to think bigger. rather. Someone told me, oh, your lights are flickering on your hitch cargo carrier, and then I can then tell you, yes, I am aware of that. Not then, knock me down some notches by telling me I'm a girl, so I am not capable of plugging in a light, whatever. I find it kind of interesting. If I go into a hardware store like Home Depot or Lowe's, and I am in just my civilian clothes, I get a lot of the employees, the male employees, asking me if I need assistance or if there's anything they can help me find. Most of the time, no, I do not. I know exactly what I am doing and where I am going and what I am looking for. But when I am in my uniform, my military uniform, I think it's pretty safe to say I have never, ever had any employee ask me if I need any help. It's kind of funny because it's like, if I just look like a typical girl, I might need help. But when I'm in a military uniform, I look a lot more capable of being in a hardware store and able to find whatever I need to find, all on my own. Isn't that interesting? I've been noticing that lately because I had to go to the hardware store a lot just on the way home from work. So I'll just run in there really fast in my uniform. As opposed to if I go in there on the weekend, then I might need a little bit more hand-holding. And all guys are not like that. All people are not like that. Some people get it that females, there are a lot of females who are just as capable of life and grown-up things as guys. So anyway, so finishing everything up at home, I did pretty much everything that I had set out to do. And so once I finally got on the road, it was somewhat of a relief. I was a bit torn because I'm certainly glad to be getting out of the area, even though I really do like the area. There's so much to do. If you're bored in the DC area, then that's your problem. But after 6 years, I had my fill of it, and I was ready to be done. However, my condo, I really, really love my condo. I was really pretty bummed about leaving that after waiting for so long to get into it and then living in it for such a short amount of time. But it was all completely my choice to leave. Having a rental unit in Maryland, oh my gosh, it is so much more expensive. Their fees are yikes. Like, my properties in Utah, it's just 10% of the rent. That's it. And then there's some other fees like here and there, but man, there's a lot more that goes into it.
There's a disabled vehicle ahead.
Yeah, so there's a lot more that goes into it in that area. Like, some companies take the entire first month's rent. When they find a new tenant, they'll take the entire first month's rent for their fee. What the heck? Holy crap. Now, this company that I'm working with, let's see, what is their fee normally? Their fee is like, it's either 100, I think it might be 100%. Others are 75%, but thankfully, this company, they are only taking 25% of the first month's rent. Oh my gosh, it's like, dude, I'm not some real estate mogul. I gotta pay the mortgage, and then if I'm living someplace else, it's needless to say, I'm a little bit stressed with how soon that property gets rented, and where I find to live at my destination, because the housing allowance that I'm getting is vastly different, because it's so expensive to live on the East Coast. Out west, unless you're in California, which I'm not in California, it's a different story. I'm glad I'm leaving it now to be rented as opposed to when I retire out of the military, because I'm not planning on working at all once I get out in 2 years. So at least in this case, it should already be rented, and I'm still going to have a good income and not have to be too concerned about it, hopefully. So I just got to really budget a lot more wisely and have a lot more reserve set aside just in case. So I decided probably a couple months ago that I was definitely going to look for a different job, because when I first started working full-time in the military, I used to have a mindset of like, I need to stick it out for this organization, this because of this and that. And now, as I've been in the work environment for a while, I do not have that mindset really anymore. Of course, I am going to be a good employee and do my best at any job that I'm in. Absolutely, 100%. However, I have standards, and if I am not a valued employee, utilized, and if what I have to offer, the skills that I share, are not embraced, then I am just going to move on. I'm not going to tolerate it. I do not have time for that. I think what it really boils down to now that I am older is, of course, some life experience, and also having a much beefier resume and more skills at my disposal. And so I know my value and my worth. Since I've been so behind on my videos, it's kind of like watching episodes of reality shows, because as I post my videos, so much life has happened in the meantime. And so when I was posting the video of me leaving my last job, the end of the chapter video, as I was editing that video and watching how hopeful I was for that position and how they were going to help me in my career, it was really sad because none of that happened. And not to say that the person who had told me those things did not have good intentions. It just ended up being that that person was not my supervisor. I had certainly done what I needed to do in talking with my new supervisor and getting my records fixed that had not been fixed from when I first got into contracting, and just being pushed off for so long and continually talking and then continually asking to get these things fixed. It just became really ridiculous. And there are many other things along those lines that were not ideal. Not everybody is cut out to be in a leadership position, that's for sure. I think a lot of times people are just in the right place at the right time, and really doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best candidate for the job. Maybe they are knowledgeable in that career, but as far as leadership qualities go and dealing with people go, it's just not always there. I was not being utilized very well at all. My title was the title of the supervisor, but with support on the end, and yet I was continually having to go in and say, what do you need? What can I do for you? I can see that you've got a lot going on. What can I take off of your hands? I just got to a point where, because I was not even being given things to do, I am not a slug employee. I know there's a lot of people who would love that kind of a job, but I want to contribute and I want to feel worthwhile. And I know that I have things that I can offer. So when I was not being given assignments or tasks, I would set out to do things on my own. Then when I would turn around and share those things that I had done, I was met with, well, I don't like that. And I know that the skills that I have and what I can do for organizations, even in regards to just SharePoint, are very, very good. I would say, unless they're some type of a programmer or software engineer or whatever, I would say I'm definitely in the top 5% of SharePoint abilities and knowledge in the entire Air National Guard. Abso-freaking-lutely, okay? I like SharePoint. I am a SharePoint geek, all right? I am such a geek that when I was in Utah, I would go to what was called SharePoint Saturday, which was put on by, I don't know if it was specifically Microsoft. We'll just say Microsoft, because they had a lot of people who worked for Microsoft there who would teach classes, and then there would be vendors there who would offer their services in regards to SharePoint, because I'd go and talk to the vendors and they're like, oh, what company are you with? I'm like, I'm just with myself because I want to improve my SharePoint skills. So yeah, I'm a super geek when it comes to that, and I've got very good skills. So when I give you this really good site and I'm just restricted and told that, you don't like it, it's like, really? I mean, I'm not even getting any tasks or assignments to do. And when I come up with stuff on my own, it's not good enough. It just, no. Absolutely not. I actually went to tech school with the people who were supervised by this individual, and so I was already aware of this person, but I've just been going from bad office to bad office to bad office, and it's like, okay, what's the common denominator here? It's me. Right, yes, it is me. In order to give this the best chance that I could, I gave it 4 months to fill this person out. When they came on board, I was like, okay, Rachel, let's not judge too quickly. Let's fill this person out. Like, let's see how it goes. Because right away, I was like, what the? Okay. And then it was just like everything that I would do, it was just not good enough. And then I was just never taken on any TDYs. TDYs are like business trips. I would get questions from the field. oh, are you coming to the road show? And I'm like, what road show? They're like, yeah, the road show that, you know, your boss is going to be there. I'm like, what? He is? This happened to me 3 times because I know people in the field. I've been at the headquarters level for a while, and when I would find this out, I'm like, what in the world? Like, why am I not told? Why am I not even taken on these trips? You know, how can I better be utilized when I worked for the same type of person in a different career field? I went on all sorts of TDYs. I was in the know, in the mix. I was a go-to person. And then to go from that to not even knowing that there were road shows going on, where regional road shows, to where you go out to the field units, and they all congregate to one location in that specific region and talk about hot topics or whatever it is that they might need. It was very strange. Very, very strange. I'm towards the end of my career. I'm not going to be miserable in an office where the person I work for doesn't even want to utilize me, so I'm out. The type of orders that I'm on are temporary. They're year to year. I have to basically reapply for my job. And even when that came up, and I would ask, okay, well, when's the deadline to reapply? I was just met with this, well, you know, you can't stay here forever, and we need to look at, like, what your career path is. And I'm like, my career path? I've tried to get you to help me with my records and getting those straightened out and clicking the button to mark that I have these certain credentials that I have. Here's the courses I've taken. Here's the time in that I have met the timing requirements. Yet you're not even doing that. So I'm not sure why you really care at this point. Like, oh, well, you know, what we need to look at where you're going. So when I was looking at other options for positions, there were a couple that were also in the same building, but then I noticed some out-of-state positions, and I began to think about it and thought, you know, really the only benefit for me to stay here is just my condo is all, really, because otherwise everything else about this area is just not, I need to plug this in. Yeah, the only real thing there for me to stick around for was my condo. Otherwise, everything else about staying there just was not good. Being in that environment that I was in the position I was in, but also dealing with the residual effects of the previous position I was in, seeing those people who did what they did, and you know, I will get more into all that, but also I'd kind of been there, done that already in DC, and I was just kind of over it. So there were a couple positions in 2 different states, one of which was Colorado, and the job itself was super dumb and basic and boring, but that was my number one choice as far as where to live. And that one ended up not being available, so on to plan B. So plan B option was a position in Arizona. The job itself actually looked to be really very interesting. However, I was not too keen on living in Arizona. Either way, Colorado, Arizona, they're both out west and much better outdoors than the East Coast, that's for sure. So I put in for the job in Arizona and got the job. So I'm moving to Arizona. So I'm really excited about this job. The very makeup of it is valuing ideas and valuing people and what they have to offer and bring to the table. And I feel like based on my last couple positions now, that has not at all been the case. Where exactly I'm going to be in Arizona, I am keeping that to myself. And I know that there are people who are my viewers who do live there and will probably want to do meetups and stuff like that. I'm just not there right now. And I hope that people can understand that. Now, if you see me in person, that's a different story. I'm just not going to intentionally set a date and a time and a location for a whole bunch of people that I don't know to get together. That's just, there's a safety concern there, and also, I mean, this whole thing is weird, right? People putting themselves on YouTube. Maybe I'll warm up to that down the road, I don't know. If you do end up seeing me in real life, then you can probably say hello. It's not uncommon that I hear from people that I'm intimidating, and that's partially by design, and that is partially just by the way that I look and my stature. So I would suggest that if you said, oh, Rachel in real life, then I would probably know who in the world you are and where you might know me. So my plans with this new job and area that I'm going to be living in are to make the most of it, which I always do. Any position and new state that I go to, I always do. It just has not worked out the last few times. But I'm going into this again with an open mind, and the people that I'm going to be working with and working for, once again, they sound really great, and I hope that they are. And otherwise, and if not, I've got a couple years left until I retire out of the military, until I reach my 20, my guard 20. If people want to know the breakdown of guard retirements, because there are different options, then that would have to be a separate video. So you can comment below if you would like to know what the differences are. But essentially, my plan now, in about the last year or two, has been to just finish out my guard 20, which means I would not collect my retirement check until age 60. If I wanted to get an active duty retirement, and not going to active duty, still staying in the guard, but just getting on orders, I would have to do another 10 years. And with the bull crap that I've been through the last few years, I am not about to do that. I am over it. I am over the military. I am over the BS. I'm just over it. I want to finish out in such a way that is going to benefit me the most, because nobody else is going to look out for you except yourself. So the type of orders that I'm on right now, even though I have to apply for jobs year to year, it counts towards what is called a reduced retirement age, which means that for every 90 days you work while you're in the guard, for every 90 days that you work on active duty, that is 90 days deducted from the age of 60 that you can collect your paycheck. As it stands right now, I can currently collect my guard retirement check at age 58. If I stay on these type of orders for the remaining 2 years of my career, I can collect my check at 56, which ends up being about $80,000 that I get to put in my pocket early, because I'm collecting at 56 instead of 60. I tell you what, the past 6 months or so, I mean, I have been so close to reaching my breaking point that I wanted to quit so many times because I was tired of not being treated well. Tired of it. And rather than do that, I decided to get some new scenery. So in a couple of years when I retire, if that is how things go, then I'm not planning on getting another job. I should have some income coming in every month, and it's not going to be anything super substantial, but it should be enough for me to live on, and I don't need that much. I can live in a car if I need to, or if I want to. So I am not high maintenance by any means. And then if the YouTube thing works out and I make more of a substantial paycheck than I already do, then great. That's more that I have to live on. Because right now, it ain't nothing. I make enough to pay taxes, which is $600. You have to make at least $600 to pay taxes on your YouTube earnings. But I certainly do not make enough for what my expenses are at all. Maybe my editing expenses, like the editing software, the subscription for music, things like that. But anything else, that's all out of pocket. Any travel that I do, any giveaways that I do, that's all paid for by me, not YouTube. You can have a 5-year plan all day long, but from 1 year to the next, in my experience, things can change so much. Let's see, what is it, October? Yeah, a year ago this month, I was just starting this last position that I was in. I never would have thought that I would be moving to Arizona, especially considering that I was under contract for the condo that I had already been waiting so long for. But I have options and I have standards, and I'm just not going to tolerate being treated or not treated a certain way by anybody in an organization, in my family, with random people. I'm just not going to put up with BS. I won't do it, and either should anybody else. With that, I'm going to end it here. The next time you will see me, maybe some house hunting, maybe it'll be in whatever place I am living in. I don't know. But I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for your support. Hello. Really do appreciate all of you. Even though I do not want to do any meetups right now or tell you exactly where I'm living, It does not mean that I do not appreciate you. I definitely appreciate all of you, even you silent watchers who never comment, probably have never commented. Thank you so much for sticking it out. And I will see you in the next video.